Hi, my name is Craig Faraway, and welcome to this episode of Behind the Song. Today's song is called Dream on the Horizon, and here's the story. I was about 18 years old, and we were driving home from Toronto to Hamilton, and I was sitting in the back of the car, and it was about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. The sun was just setting over the, sort of over the horizon. And I was sort of looking out the window, and I had a big dream when I was that age. I wanted to become a professional recording artist. And I had been at my uncle's house in Toronto that day. We were listening to some music, some of my music, and they were, fussing over it and everything. And I just really had been recording for, many years in my home studio. And I really wanted to pursue a career. And it was a dream of mine to do that at the time. Well, we were driving along the highway, and I was staring out the window at the sun as it was just touching the horizon. And the mental phrase, dream on the horizon, came to my mind. Just like a gust of wind, it just came to me. And I thought to myself, that's a good title for a song. Maybe I should write a song one day called Dream on the Horizon. When you're a songwriter, you're constantly thinking of ideas for songs. Lyrics, titles, melodies, tunes, beats, all that stuff. And I always had a little tape recorder on me, on my person, just to record little ideas and whatnot. So the phrase Dream on the Horizon stuck in my head, and we got home, and I went to bed that night. The next morning, I got a phone call. I had my own telephone in my room, and I got a phone call, and I answered it, all groggy, hello. And it was a guy by the name of Keith Elshaw, and he said to me, Craig, I have acquired a copy of some of your music on cassette, and I have listened to it, and we are working on a project called The Big Picture, and it's this story may be a little longer than the other ones because it's a big story. It's a big time in my life. And he said, we're recording an album, and it's about the Winter Olympics, the 1988 Winter Olympics in Calgary, Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And he said, we're writing. We want to find original artists, original songs, and your music is. We really like your music, and we'd like you to write a song for the record. Now, the song has to be about the Olympics. Would you do it? And at the time, I was like, well, yeah, sure, I guess. Yeah, sure, I'll do it. Yeah, awesome. And he said, yeah, it'll be on the record. It'll be on the radio. It'll be, we've got Alex Lifeson working on the album. We've got Rick Emmett from Triumph, Alex Lifeson from Rush. We've got Leona Boyd working on it too. And we'd love to have you in the project. So I said, okay, yes, I will do it. So I got off the phone, and I thought to myself, oh boy, what have I got myself into? Because I don't really watch sports or anything like that. I'm not much of a sports guy. I don't even watch television very often, if at all. And I didn't really know that much about the Olympics. It just wasn't my thing. I was more into taking things apart and building stuff and, my music. So I went upstairs, and my mom was in the kitchen. My mom was cooking or something or doing breakfast. And I said, Mom, you won't believe what just happened. I got this phone call. I told her all about it. And she said, wow, that's really cool. And I said, yeah, but the thing is, I don't know anything about the Olympics. I don't know what the hell to write about this thing. And she said, well, the Olympics, there's all the different countries in the world. They all come into one country, and they all compete, and they all have this dream, that they want to win a medal for their country. They want to win the gold. They want to represent their country and win the gold medal for their country. And, I'm thinking, okay, countries, flags. She says, and they have a torch ceremony in every city, every major city in every province of Ontario of Canada. So they light this big torch. You've probably seen this, of course, And they started at one end of the country, and there's a marathon, like a relay, and it gets carried on foot across the country. And it never goes out. It stays lit. All the fire never goes out. And she said, and there's she told me all about it. All about the Olympics, what it's all about, and all these symbols and things that go with it. And so I said, okay, I get it. Yeah, I've seen this. Yeah, okay, I think I got this. So I went downstairs to my little studio, and I sat down. I don't even think I was dressed. I think I was still in my pajamas or whatever it is I wore to bed. I sat down at this keyboard. It's the exact same keyboard that I've had back then. I still have it, and it still works. It's a Yamaha DX7. I sat down at that, and I started playing chords, and I started singing stuff, and I started writing. And before I knew it, I think it took literally 20 minutes. I had the entire song written. I decided to use the phrase "Dream on the Horizon" because it's like cha-ching. No one, I just thought of this the night before, and it's a perfect title for the song, Dream on the Horizon. It's a dream. Everyone in the Olympics has a dream. It's about the dream, And so I wrote the song, and I recorded it on cassette, and it was a pretty bad recording of it, but we took it to the studio in Toronto where they wanted to, people that called me, and we sat in there, and we were all in this big boardroom and all this stuff, big corporate stuff, and they listened to the song, and they listened to it, and then they were like, sitting with their legs crossed, and after the song was over, there was nothing. They didn't say anything, and then one of the guys said, "Craig, which drum machine did you use for that?" I'm like, that's all you've got to say? Really? Okay, well, it's a Yamaha RX-15 or whatever it was. So, Keith, the guy who called me, he says, play it again. So they played it again. They were listening to it. I listened to it a second time. And then it finishes, and they're like, and I'm sitting there thinking, okay, they don't like it. It's, And so they said, well, we'll let us live with this, and we'll give you a call. So we left the office, we left the building, and my parents and I were like, okay, typical show business, don't call us, we'll call you. That's it. They don't like it. Let's move on. You tried. It was cool. Well, I got a call the next day from them, and they said to me, Craig, we love the song. We can't get enough of the song. As a matter of fact, we are going to make the song the title track of the album. The album's called The Big Picture, but we're gonna add something to that. We're gonna call it The Big Picture. Dream on the Horizon, a tribute to the Olympic spirit. And that's what they called the album. And this is a copy of the record. And on the back, you guys might be able to see the track list there. There's my song number 2. And it's there. It's on vinyl. This is the only copy I have, and that's what happened. So this record is actually worth a lot of money. I'll get into that in a minute. So that's how the song was written. And so I went back there subsequently later on, and I brought, and they put me in a little room, and they said, okay, here's a keyboard, happened to be a DX7 just like that. And they said, practice and get used to it, and, tap out the beats and do all it. Because I had to record it all myself. I didn't have like a bunch of people doing all the tracks. I did the tracks. And he said, okay, here we go. Piano. And they had a Mac Plus. Those little Macintosh Plus computers, the black and white screen. And they had software, and they were, clicking away at stuff. And I was playing the parts, the keyboards, the bass part, the drum parts. It was a Korg something drum machine. I can't remember the name. The DX7. They had a sampler that had a piano sound in it. So we mixed the DX7 sound with the sampled piano. And We had it all done. He had it all sequenced. And then I came back another day and did the vocals for it, which I was petrified because it was the very first time I was ever behind a microphone similar to this one. I was scared out of my mind. You're sitting at that big glass window and they're staring at you through it, and you're all by yourself in this room with this big old microphone, and they're telling you to sing, and you've got to do your absolute best performance. Well, that's what I tried to do. My best performance of the song Dream on the Horizon. It was played on the radio, and when I wrote the song, I really wrote it about my dream. Because whenever I wrote a song, I always tried to give it a double meaning, Sometimes, a song seems like it's about something, but it could also be about something else. This song, everyone thinks it's about the Olympics. And it is, but really what it's behind the song, it's about my dream at the time. My dream on the horizon to become a professional songwriter. And that's the story behind the song. It was on the television, it was on the radio, it was on the news, it was all over the place, and I was over the moon. It was a very, very exciting time in my life, and they used the song in a 1-hour documentary called Dreams of Glory, which I will post on YouTube. I think it's boring, but except for the parts when I used my song. So there it is, Dream on the Horizon. I hope you enjoy it, and thanks for watching this edition of Behind the Song. See ya.
Strive for your dreams. Seems you never stop. It's an uphill climb, but if you've got the time, you just keep climbing until you reach the top. And there'll be times when the world's not on your side, and you'll cry, but you'll always get by. Knowing there's a dream on the horizon, and you're running through the night. And if the sun isn't shining, you gotta carry your own light, yeah. Somewhere tonight there is a light that's burning for you, and you gotta believe this was meant to be. You gotta show the world just what you can do. If there's a stairway that you must climb, don't look behind. Take it one step at a time, 'cause there's a dream on the horizon, and you're running through the night. And if the sun isn't shining, you gotta carry